Ever wished your EV could charge as fast as it takes to grab a coffee?
And then go like 400 or 500 miles?
Yeah, like seriously ditch the whole range anxiety thing.
That's the dream QuantumScape is selling.
And we're diving deep into whether they can actually deliver. So we've got a mountain of research on QuantumScape.
This company's making waves with their solid-state batteries for EVs.
And I gotta admit, I'm kind of geeking out about it already.
It's definitely exciting stuff.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break this down. What exactly does QuantumScape do?
All right, so they're all about replacing those lithium-ion batteries.
The ones we see in pretty much every EV today.
Exactly. They want to swap them out with something completely new. Solid-state lithium metal batteries.
Okay. Sounds like a big leap, not just a minor upgrade. But what's the problem with the lithium-ion batteries?
Well, they work, but they have their downsides. Think about those EV fires you hear about.
Yeah, those are pretty scary.
That's a big safety issue with lithium-ion. Plus, the range is limited. And who wants to spend hours at a charging station?
No thanks. So QuantumScape is saying, hey, we've got these new batteries that are safer, charge faster, and take you further.
Pretty much.
It's a bold claim. And honestly, it's hard to believe they can actually achieve all of that.
Yeah, it's ambitious for sure.
And we have to remember, they're still pre-revenue.
Right. No batteries for sale just yet.
But I read that they've sent prototype cells to some car manufacturers for testing.
That's right. And their target for commercial production is sometime in 2025.
Wow, so they're putting their money where their mouth is. But what's so special about their tech? What are they doing that's different?
One key thing is their anode-less design. It's a bit technical.
Okay, try me.
So basically, they took out a major component of traditional batteries. Imagine a sandwich with only one slice of bread and a super concentrated filling.
That's a pretty good analogy.
It could mean cheaper production and easier manufacturing. They're also using a solid-state ceramic separator.
And why is that important?
Well, unlike the liquid electrolytes in conventional batteries, which, by the way, are flammable, this separator is not.
So no more EV fires. That's a big deal. What about those faster charging times and crazy ranges they're talking about?
Yeah, so QuantumScape is claiming these batteries could charge from 10% to 80% in under 15 minutes.
So you could literally grab a coffee and be good to go.
That's the idea. And as for the range, they're saying 400 to 500 miles on a single charge.
It all sounds amazing.
It does, but it's all still on paper. We need to see how it performs in the real world.
Fair enough. But even with revolutionary tech, you need a killer team to make it happen.
Absolutely.
What can you tell us about the people behind QuantumScape?
Well, their leadership team is full of veterans from the tech industry.
Okay, like who?
Their CEO, Dr. Siva Sivaram, has a background in semiconductors and data storage. He's worked at places like Western Digital and SanDisk.
Interesting. So not your typical car industry guy.
Right. That outsider perspective could be a real advantage.
I can see that.
And then you've got Dr. Tim Holm, the CTO. He's a co-founder and has deep expertise in materials science and engineering.
Which is crucial for battery development, right?
Exactly. And they have Dr. Mohit Singh as their chief development officer.
He's been a big part of their battery breakthroughs, right?
Yep. And to round it out, Kevin Hetrich is their CFO, bringing a lot of experience in finance and operations.
Sounds like they've got a pretty well-rounded team. But a good team isn't everything.
You're right. Actions speak louder than words.
So what's their track record like? Have they actually delivered on their promises?
So far, they've been hitting their developmental milestones. And importantly, they've been transparent with investors about their progress.
That's good to hear, especially since they're pre-revenue.
Yeah, they're burning through cash to fund R&D.
Which brings us to their financials. How are they funding all this? Can they keep the lights on long enough to get this tech off the ground?
They've been raising capital through public offerings and strategic partnerships.
Smart move.
They even landed a licensing agreement with PowerCo. That includes a $130 million prepayment towards future royalties.
Wow, so they're already thinking about revenue streams even before they have a product to sell.
Exactly.
Thinking ahead. All right, but what about their current financial situation? Are they in a good spot to keep pushing forward?
As of September 2024, they had over $841 million in cash and cash equivalents.
That's a decent cushion.
Right. And their debt-to-equity ratio is really low, meaning they're not drowning in debt.
That's reassuring.
They're projecting that cash will last into 2028.
So they have a decent runway to get things moving.
They do, but obviously their long-term financial stability depends on them actually selling those batteries.
Makes sense. They can't rely on investments forever.
Nope. Eventually, they need to bring in that revenue from battery sales.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about their business, their tech, their team, and their financials. But we haven't really touched on how the market views QuantumScape. Are they living up to the hype? We'll dive into that and more when we come back.
All right, so let's jump into how the market's feeling about QuantumScape.
Yeah, investor sentiment is super important for any company.
Especially in the tech world.
Totally. Even with great technology and a solid team, investors ultimately decide a company's fate.
Exactly.
So what's the verdict? Are investors buying what QuantumScape is selling?
It's a mixed bag, honestly. There's definitely excitement about their potential. They could really shake up the battery industry.
I can see that.
And their partnerships with big names like Volkswagen are a huge plus.
Definitely a sign they're being taken seriously.
But at the same time, there's also a lot of skepticism.
Makes sense. They are still pre-revenue.
Right. Investors want to see results, not just promises.
Show me the money.
Exactly. So it's this wait-and-see kind of vibe in the market.
So what's feeding this mixed sentiment? Are there any signals from the market itself that can shed some light?
Analyst ratings are a good place to start.
Okay, what are they saying?
Right now, QuantumScape has a hold rating.
Meaning?
Analysts aren't recommending to buy or sell the stock. The average price target is around $6.26.
So not exactly a sign that everyone's jumping on board.
Yep.
What about recent news and events?
Yeah.
Has anything happened that's influenced investor opinion?
There have been some positives. They announced a new piece of equipment, the Cobra, for their next-gen separator.
That sounds promising.
Right. That kind of news tends to give the stock a bump. Investors see it as progress.
Forward momentum.
Yeah. But then there's the short interest working against them.
Now, for those of us who don't speak Wall Street, what exactly does that mean? And why is it a big deal for QuantumScape?
Short interest basically means investors are betting against the company.
Like they think the stock's going to go down.
Exactly. They're borrowing shares, selling them, and hoping to buy them back later at a lower price to profit from the difference.
So a high short interest is a sign that some people aren't too confident.
Yeah, it can indicate bearish sentiment.
So we've got these positive developments and then some not so positive signals. It sounds like the market's still trying to figure QuantumScape out.
They are a bit of a puzzle.
A high-risk, high-reward kind of situation.
For sure. Investors are weighing the potential payoff against the uncertainties.
Waiting to see if QuantumScape can really make good on their promises.
Exactly. Can they become a major player in the solid-state battery game? That's the question.
Okay, so let's talk about who's actually backing QuantumScape. Who are the key players in their ownership structure?
Well, you've got your big institutional investors.
The usual suspects.
Pretty much. Vanguard, BlackRock, Capricorn Investment Group. They all hold a significant chunk of shares.
So the big money is definitely watching.
They are.
What about company insiders? Do the founders and executives have skin in the game?
They do, and that's usually a good sign. It shows they believe in the company's future.
They're invested in its success, literally.
Right. And then one of the most important stakeholders is Volkswagen.
Oh yeah, they're more than just an investor.
Right. They're a major strategic partner working with QuantumScape to develop batteries specifically for their EVs.
So Volkswagen is putting their money where their mouth is too.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty big endorsement for QuantumScape.
Definitely adds some credibility to their vision.
Okay, so I think it's time for a classic SWOT analysis.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll look at their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Starting with strengths, what are QuantumScape's biggest advantages?
Their main strength, obviously, is their innovative battery technology.
If they can pull this off, it could be huge.
Exactly. And we've already talked about their strong partnerships, especially with Volkswagen.
Right. And they've got a strong leadership team.
Definitely.
And let's not forget their cash reserves.
Oh, yeah, they have the financial resources to back up their ambitions.
So they've got the brains, the backing, and the money. But what about their weaknesses? What hurdles do they need to clear?
Well, the elephant in the room is that they're pre-revenue.
Still no money coming in from actual sales.
And that means they're burning through cash to stay afloat.
It's a risky position to be in.
It is. They're relying on external funding, which can be tough in a volatile market.
Okay, so what else should investors be wary of?
Competition is fierce.
Makes sense. Everyone wants a piece of the EV pie.
Exactly. There are other companies working on solid-state battery technology.
Some of them might even be further along than QuantumScape.
That's right.
So QuantumScape needs to stay ahead of the curve.
They do. It's a constant race.
Okay, so let's flip the script. What opportunities are out there for QuantumScape? Where do they have the potential to really take off?
The most obvious one is the electric vehicle market itself.
It's booming.
Right. Demand for EVs is exploding, and all of those car makers need good batteries.
If QuantumScape can deliver what they're promising, they're in a prime position.
Absolutely. But it's not just EVs. Think about stationary energy storage.
For homes and businesses.
Exactly. And consumer electronics.
Oh, yeah. Smartphones that charge super fast and last for days. Laptops that you never have to plug in.
It's a whole new world of possibilities.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But
yeah.
Let's be realistic. What are some of the threats that could derail QuantumScape's plans?
Delays are a big one.
Delays in getting their product to market.
Yeah. If they run into technical problems or can't scale up production quickly enough,
investors could lose confidence.
And the stock price could take a hit.
Time is money, especially in tech.
Exactly.
What else?
Well, there's always the risk of a major economic downturn.
That could put a damper on EV sales.
It could. And then there's the competition.
Right, we talked about that.
Some of these companies have deeper pockets than QuantumScape.
And more experience in manufacturing.
It's a tough landscape.
It's a jungle out there.
It is.
So we've really dug deep into QuantumScape. Their business model, their leadership, their financials, how the market sees them, the risks, the opportunities.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But the big question remains, is QuantumScape a good investment? We'll tackle that head on when we come back for the final part of our deep dive. Okay, time to answer the million-dollar question. Is QuantumScape a good investment?
And the answer is, it depends.
On.
It's not a simple yes or no. As we've seen, it's high risk, high reward. Their potential is huge. If they can actually get those batteries out there,
they could change the game.
Totally. But they're pre-revenue, they've got fierce competition, and they're relying a lot on outside money.
So for the average investor looking for safe bets?
Probably not the best fit.
But for someone who's okay with a little more risk?
Who's willing to ride out the bumps?
It gets more interesting.
A lot more interesting.
Look, we're talking like classic Warren Buffett investing.
QuantumScape wouldn't make the cut.
No long earnings history, no real moat.
And the market's all over the place. Buffett would probably say, nope.
But not everyone's Warren Buffett. A lot of people are willing to take risks, especially when the potential payoff is so big.
That's right.
So for those who are thinking about QuantumScape, what should they be thinking about before jumping in?
The biggest thing is, can they actually execute?
Turn all this potential into reality.
Exactly. Can they solve the technical issues, scale up production, and deal with all the competition? There's no guarantee.
So it's not a sure thing.
Not by a long shot.
For those who really believe in the technology and trust the leadership,
a small investment could be tempting.
Part of a diversified portfolio, of course. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Never. And be prepared to lose it all. This is high-stakes stuff.
So bottom line, after this deep dive into QuantumScape,
I'd say proceed with caution.
The risks are real.
And the road ahead is bumpy.
Most investors, especially those looking for slow and steady growth,
they should probably wait. Let QuantumScape prove themselves first.
Let them show they can actually make money.
Exactly.
But for those who are okay with a gamble,
who really believe in QuantumScape's vision,
a small speculative play could be an option. Just do your research.
Yeah.
This deep dive is just the beginning.
It's a starting point.
Do your own research, talk to a financial advisor, and stay up to date on the whole solid-state battery scene.
Things are moving fast.
QuantumScape isn't the only player in the game.
New companies are popping up all the time.
It's a race to the future, and it's anyone's game.
Very true.
So is QuantumScape going to come out on top?
Or will someone else overtake them?
Only time will tell.
The next few years will be crucial.
We'll be watching closely, and you should too. And if you're hungry for more deep dives like this,
be sure to subscribe to the Stock Analytics AI YouTube channel.
We're always exploring the latest in tech and finance.
We've been sharing our findings with you.
And one last reminder, what we talked about today is just for education.
It's not financial advice.
Investing always has risks.
You could lose money.
Always do your research, talk to a pro, and make decisions that work for you.
We're not financial advisors.
Our opinions are just that, opinions.
Not recommendations.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Happy investing, everyone.